Welcome back to Torah in 10, Parshas Vayelech. I'm Jody Burkell, and I'm so excited to be here with you again. I hope everyone had a beautiful and meaningful Rosh Hashanah. What's the life-changing idea Rabbi Sack of blessed memory teaches us this week? He says, whatever your achievements, there is always a second mountain to climb, and it may turn out to be your greatest legacy to the future. Rabbi Sack asks us a question. What do you do when you've achieved it all? Raised a family, risen to the heights of your career? What do you do when you age and your body no longer is as resilient or your mind as sharp as it once was? One of my prayers is a prayer for long life. I look at my gray hairs and my smile lines and other signs of aging that I won't mention here with gratitude, because I know that this blessing is not given to everyone. What will keep us young in spirit when our body doesn't always keep up? What's the secret? For this, like everything else, we need to look to our Torah for the answer. At the end of his life, we're told about Moses that his eye was undimmed and his energy unchanged. At the opening of this parsha, we hear from Moses. He says, I am now 120 years old. I can no longer come and go, and the Lord has told me, you may not cross the Jordan. The time had come for him to hand over the reins of leadership to his successor and student Joshua. Moses was still capable at 120. He was strong and full of life, as we see in his passionate addresses to his people in the last month of his life. How did he achieve this? Rabbi Sack explains how this was possible looking at the different stages of our life. He says that later in life, many people's perspective changes. They begin to think about the kind of legacy they want to leave. Their focus changes from the self to a focus on others. Many devote their time to family, to community, to mentoring the next generation, and increase their volunteer work. They ask themselves, how can I contribute to the world? What trace will I leave on those who will live on after me? What in the world will be better because of me? These are deep questions, perfect for this time of year, don't you think? The second concept, says Rabbi Sack, comes from David Brooks, the idea of a second mountain. Speaking to people over 70, he found that early in their lives, they knew the mountain they were going to climb. They had aspirations of a family and a career. They had a vision of themselves, of who they wanted to become. By age 70, some had achieved it and were happy. Others had achieved it only to find that it wasn't as satisfying as they had anticipated. And others had been knocked off the mountain by life circumstances. At a certain age, though, many people identified a second mountain they wanted to climb. This mountain was not about achieving, but about giving. It was spiritual, moral. It was about devoting yourself to a cause or giving back to the community. David Brooks says, often people have this inner voice that whispers, I want to do something good with my life. I want my life to mean something. It's very emotional. The second mountain might just prove to be more significant to our self-worth than the ego-driven ascent of the first mountain. And this brings us back to Moses. What do you do when you've achieved it all? As Moses faced the end of his own life, he moved from liberator and miracle worker to Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our teacher, the man who taught Torah to the next generation. Moses knew that he wouldn't be accompanying his people into the land of Israel. And this meant that Moses had to make the people his students. And we have been his students ever since. All of this, says Rabbi Sack, is a powerful and potentially life-changing message for us. Whatever our life has been up to now, there is another chapter to be written, focused on being a blessing to others, sharing whatever gifts we have with those who have less, handing over our values to the next generation, and using our life experience to help others come through a difficult time of their own. How beautiful to be encouraged to do something that has nothing to do with our personal ambitions and much more to do with wanting to leave the world a little better off than how we found it. Regardless of our age, as Anne Frank so powerfully said, how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. If we're asking God for another year, He's asking us right back, what are you going to do with it? Remember, more than we have faith in God, God has faith in us. He's cheering us on to partner with Him and change the world. Gemar Chatima Tova and Shabbat Shalom, my friends.